To all you people all over the world, wherever you are, I know it's a tough one. I'm an old dude. I've been around for years. I live with optimism. But to all you guys, all you youngsters who feel thwarted and put down and hopeless, believe me one thing. I've read someone, I can't remember whether it was in the Old Testament or I think it was a shaman, maybe Carlos Castaneda, but the shaman said it was a drought. Cattle were dying, people were dying in a desert. And the shaman said, build the ditches, dig the ditches for the rain. And they said, there is no rain. Dig the ditches and the rain will come. Now you non-believers may say, oh, that's nonsense. Well, believe what you want. That's the rational mind. I don't think the rational mind is working too well at the moment. It's the irrational mind, the subconscious. All my life, when I was a little boy, I dreamed of where I am now. I may have had a vision, I don't know. Didn't have much hope, but everything happened for me. And now I believe that we can condense time, we can pull it to ourselves. It's not about the future. Oh, I'm going to do something next year. It doesn't exist. Tomorrow doesn't exist. Next hour does not exist. It's all potential. But what we can do is drag the time into the present, now, into the solar plexus of our soul. Build the ditches. Whatever you want to do, believe it, believe it, believe it, even if you don't believe. Play the game of belief. Act as if you believe. That is power. That is sheer power. And it will happen, believe you me. An old fool like me has worked in my life, it will work in yours. So never give up. Believe, believe, believe. I don't care if you're atheist or agnostic or anything. Believe, believe, believe.
He is the key. He is the gate. He is the gate. Key and guardian of the gate. He is the key.
And it will happen, believe you me. An old fool like me has worked in my life, it will work in yours. So never give up. Believe, believe, believe. I don't care if you're atheist or agnostic or anything. Believe, believe, believe. Believe, believe, believe.
probably feel like you're all alone.
I'm not alone.
That's right, you're not alone.
Do you know what a broch is? Broch. Well, that's what they call it in Scotland. This structure is more or less equal all over the world. They are all over the world. These days, most of them are in ruins, and many disappeared. In some areas, they were bigger, in some others, they were smaller, and others are very small, all depending in the area. For an area, a rich area, would be a big complex, big structures. For a poor area, it would be much smaller. Like I said, they existed everywhere around the world, and they can still be found in different states of destruction. You will see also one of these structures in what you now call Zimbabwe. There's quite a few in that area of the world. Zimbabwe, Mozambique, north of South Africa, and there's a reason why it exists there. I'll explain a bit later.
Believe, believe, believe. I don't care if you're atheist or agnostic or anything. Believe, believe, believe. Believe, believe, believe. I don't care if you're atheist or agnostic or anything. Believe, believe, believe. Believe, believe, believe. I don't care if you're atheist or agnostic or anything. Believe, believe, believe.
One of the best and earliest remote viewers was a former police detective named Pat Price, who just by happenstance they stumbled across and brought him into the testing that was being done at SRI, and he proved to be just a tremendous remote viewer. Well, Pat Price would not only do what they asked him to do, but he would take it upon himself to go look at things, and one day he showed up with a report he had written up about these 4 alien bases that he had seen on the Earth. One of them is in the Pyrenees Mountains between France and Spain. The other is in Zimbabwe in Africa.
You will see also one of these structures in what you now call Zimbabwe. There's quite a few in that area of the world. Zimbabwe, Mozambique, north of South Africa.
For one, part of the evidence for that is that, as I mentioned a moment ago, Great Zimbabwe is not unique. It's simply the largest of some 200 of these Zimbabwe small Z's.
And there's a reason why it exists there. I'll explain a bit later. And here we are to talk about those things like I promised. Now, just this small, tiny part of history about what you call Zimbabwe and what I'm about to explain more. I could be here talking for a month or two, non-stop, or longer. But I cannot be here for a month or two. I don't have much time during the day or night. I cannot be here 2 months talking about this. So I made some notes so that I just talk about the main things. Because once I start talking, if I start talking without notes, then I go left, I go right, I go up, I go down. I start connecting these dots and bringing more people and more things, more events, more into the story, and then I talk too much. I never stop. Then I go away from the main story, the main plot. So I made a few notes, a note here, so that I stick to the main issue. Anyway, so like I was saying on part 1, there is a reason why there were Caristus hybrids there, and that was the gold mines. Not only Caristus hybrids were there, they were there because the Caristus put them there. They were working for the cause. But the Caristus have been in that area that at the time I showed on part 1. It's called the Great Zimbabwe, all that area. Caristus have been there for thousands of years, mining gold, all by themselves, and then with hybrids, and then with locals, if they wanted, they were being paid. They did it for thousands of years, the Caristus.
And one day he showed up with a report he had written up about these 4 alien bases that he had seen on the Earth. One of them is in the Pyrenees Mountains between France and Spain. The other is in Zimbabwe in Africa.
They did it for thousands of years, the Caristus, mining gold, but not the gold you wear on your necklace or in your ring. Not that kind of gold. It's a special kind of gold, which one day I will explain. Very special and very rare. You don't get like kilograms every month. No. Very special. Even more special in Jupiter. But been there for thousands of years. By the time what we call the Great Zimbabwe existed, which is all these little Zimbabwes, these little cities, mini empires, regions, which are controlled some by flash hybrids, other met hybrid, other humans, other Caristus hybrids. At that time, it was a big mess. There was wars all the time, fighting each other, killing each other, until finally there was a bigger war. And the Caristus won that one. And suddenly, most, like 90% of flash hybrids, met hybrids, they were gone. And the met and the flash were lost that, not war, a battle above ships and so on. And so the Caristus finally regained control, because they had control of that area at one time, way before. And then that mess was created, and then finally they regained control of that area. And when they did, the Caristus started what some people call the Mutapa Empire. Mutapa Empire. Now, the Mutapa Empire, they called it, the people that lived there, the Mwene Mutapa. Mwene Mutapa, which then the Portuguese changed to Monomatapa, which pretty much means king of the land. King of the land. And the first guy to be the king of that land, which in the beginning was just that area that I talked about, but then became bigger, that you don't hear very often. Well, you probably never heard about this until I mentioned it, the Mutapa Empire, but some people know about it. They still think the Mutapa Empire was a lot smaller. The Mutapa Empire was much bigger. It grew over time.
He is the king. He is the gate.
The first king is a guy called Nyatsimba Mutota. Nyatsimba Mutota. He was the first king put there by the Caristus. He was not a Caristus hybrid, he was just a human. He did not work for the cause, but he worked with the cause, but not for the cause. He was not an insider. He knew about the cause, knew about Caristus, he worked with them. And then this was around 1430. See my notes. Yeah, 1430. And then when he died, his son, called Nianewe Matope, he was his son, and he kept working with the cause, also human, with the cause, and not part of the cause, work with the cause. Like there are many humans right now working with the cause. They don't belong to the cause. And things were going well. But towards the end of his reign, the son of the first king, Monsieur Nianewe Matope, he started allowing many outsiders to come into the Mutapa Empire. You know how it is. When a city, any city in the world is this, gets bigger, it's because people from other sides are coming. And the bigger the city becomes, the more problems the city will have. Crime problems, for example. The bigger the city, the bigger the problems. Same thing with the Mutapa Empire. Start having a lot of problems. Flash hybrids, met hybrids, and humans that were up to no good started coming. It was harder to control them because the empire was bigger. So they start mixing with the locals a lot in different places. And they became more powerful, little by little, more powerful. And the presence was strong, noticed. So eventually, Nianewe had a son, and his name was Shakamire Mutata. Shakamire Mutata. He was following along, going along what was with his father's plans. Expand the empire, control the empire, but he wasn't, trying to get rid of the bad apples. He was just doing his everyday business, trying not to make too many waves. And so that was when the Carishus decided it was time to talk with that king and for him to work within the cause, not with the cause, for the cause. If he wanted, we sent this Carishus hybrid, who was 72. He was a member of the 72, and his mission, like other 72s have missions now, and Paul is head. That's the point of having 72s. We have special missions. They're special people for special missions. Anybody can help the cause with a mission if they are the right people, but special missions that will actually change history, cause events, ripples that are important for the future. Those special missions are saved for the 72, the most noble, the most loyal, most of the time, not always. The special missions are for them. So we sent this 72, who happened to be infiltrated. He already had started one mission, which was to infiltrate the Jesuits, and he was successful. His name was Gonzalo Silveira. So he became a holy man there among the Jesuits, Gonzalo Silveira. He became a holy man, and he did it so well, and he was so good for the cause with that mission, that we interrupted his mission there, and were able for him to start a new mission, which was to go to the Mutapa Empire and talk the new king, Shakamire Mutata, to join the cause. Not only to work with the cause, to join the cause. And eventually, for that king, Shakamire, to become a 72, maybe, we would see. Anyway, so we went there in 1561. Gonzalo, 1556. Gonzalo went there. He was able, a few years later, it's not just dump him in the court with the king. It's not done like that. If it was like that, he'd probably be killed the moment he arrived there. No. He was there for a few years. 5 years before he had access to the king. He had to have a good reputation and this and that, and then he finally had access to the court. So much so that, once again, he was successful. And the king, Shakamire, and his mother both joined the cause. Shakamire even becoming a 72 temporarily. What happened next? What happened next is that he was still a new 72. He was not a very strong leader, and he was easily manipulated by Vlach and Metr hybrids, which at the time they were the Moors that came from the Muslims came from the north to the Mutapa kingdom, and they were very powerful. It's like the banks and the pharmaceutical companies and the oil companies these days, they have a lot of power. Those guys had a lot of power too in the Mutapa Empire. They were allowed to grow this sphere of influence and economical power, social, everything. And so they had two people in the court, and they were able to convince Shakamire that our 72, Gonzalo Silveira, that went there, that he was a spy, and that he came to start a revolution, that he was not trustworthy, and so on. And so 4th, and Shakamire, which had joined the cause, had become a 72 for a very period of time, executed our 72, Gonzalo. He killed him. Not a good move, because that pretty much started the end of the Mutapa Empire. Not long after, the Portuguese invaded the Mutapa Empire. Because now, sorry, but you're a traitor. You joined the cause, you become a 72, we agree to your terms, you agree to our terms, and you kill our guy and betray us and join the Vlach and the Metr and their hybrids. There's consequences. Yes. In, what was the date? 1621 or something? No, in 1629, it was when the Mutapa Empire ended officially. But the Portuguese invaded a few years before to put an end to that situation. That in turn led to the end of the Mutapa Empire and the start of the Mosvi Empire kingdom, which became temporarily a Caristus hybrid kingdom, but not very long. By then, the Portuguese didn't have a lot of influence anymore. It was other countries, other nations, European nations with a lot of power, and between them, eventually they took over that area too. So, but that's how the Mutapa Empire came to an end, and the Mosvi Kingdom Empire started.
He is the key. He is the gate.
So now you know a little bit more about the history of that place. A little bit. Because this, like I said, it's very big. It's a very big story. Like all the other stories, pretty much. But you know a little bit more about Zimbabwe and the Mutapa Empire and all these other things, which are, in the end, connected to the ritual. See this? Everything connected. Anyway, like I told you, the Caristas had been there for a long time, thousands of years. In fact, what's the name of that guy that tried to translate the Sumerian writings? What's his name? Sitchin, Zacharias Sitchin. Okay, yeah, that guy. He wrote about this a couple of times. Not many people know about it. In this book series called the Earth Chronicles, and he mentioned that he mentioned the gold mining operations were set up in the Abzu. The Abzu is written in the Sumerian texts. It's the area that the Caristas called what you know as Great Zimbabwe at that time. Call it Zimbabwe now. That area, Mozambique, north of South Africa, parts of Zambia. The Caristas word for that area were Abzu. Then it became Zimbabwe and all that. But that guy Sitchin, he mentioned that in his books about he said the Anunnaki and the Sumerian being there. It was the Caristas, but you already know that story. Anyway, if you these days, if you go there to the rural areas of Zimbabwe, Zambia, Mozambique, north of South Africa, and you talk with the tribal areas, and because they've lost, the memory of this, they don't know. But they know for word of mouth, generation after generation. If you ask them, who built these stone structures? These days, they still tell you it was either demons or aliens. They tell you that. Now, they're talking the way the reason why they say it was aliens. It's not because now, some of them have access to the internet or YouTube and they're checking out aliens. No, they were saying this. It was either demons or aliens 200 years ago. And they put demons as the flash and nets, and they put the aliens in the section of the Karishtas. They put the Karishtas in the section of the aliens. So it's either demons, Karishtas, and flash and net, or aliens. Aliens were the Karishtas. They were saying that 200 years ago. There are writings from travelers, explorers, European travelers and explorers that went there in the 19th century, for example, and asked those, and they were told those things. There are writings from that time, and they come back to Europe. They say it's people from another planet that built those structures, and they still do today. So now you know a little bit more about this story. Cheers. To be continued.
And it will happen, believe you me. An old fool like me has worked in my life, it will work in yours. So never give up. Believe, believe, believe. I don't care if you're atheist or agnostic or anything. Believe, believe, believe.